Good evening and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox Chair, on the show tonight is the one and only Southside and our Ally K. How are we doing, boys?
Evening, Oxshire, evening, Southside, evening, the Rangers Radio listeners.
Hi, evening, Ox. It's good to be on the night with AK, and good evening to everyone listening in this evening.
You know I'm no one for spreading rumours, Southside.
Nope, you are not.
However, I believe you've been going about actively recruiting new listeners, yes? Any truth in the rumour?
Him or me?
You.
Me? Sometimes we do attract new listeners, we do.
It's not what we attract.
I'll just leave it. Well, I'll just leave it at that. Are my sources correct?
I would leave it at that.
All right, okay.
He's got spies everywhere, isn't he?
I know. It just comes on and that's the first question, you know. We've got a battle of Britain tomorrow and you're worrying about recruitment.
Always. It's no, I've got to, it's the welfare of the panellists, AK.
Is that what it is? Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
How are you, AK?
I'm fine, pal. I'm fine. I'm looking forward to the season ahead. Hopefully we get some decent weather before the season starts, but it's not bad. It's not bad up here anyway. I believe it's better down there.
It's warm. Yeah, you're right, Southside. It is, historically, this would have been a big game, but I think the way football has changed, mate, it's overkill sometimes. Southside has maybe ruined these events. It's not a big event, but no as massive as it would have been in the past.
No, usually you'd have probably had this game possibly just the week before your pre-season. Your game was going to kick off at times of that, but no, it's a big name, isn't it? But that's about it. Just looking forward to seeing Rangers tomorrow. Just to see a bit more fitness in them, but see if we've maybe got a wee bit of style or a pattern of play, something that they've been working on. So that's what I'm looking for, just to see what they're like. Try to get the ball back to front, and I'm going to keep an eye on a couple of players tomorrow. I want to try and watch closely and see how they play. But apart from that, it's just a day out in it, Edinburgh.
Name names. Who's a couple you're going to keep your eye on?
I'll expect Sterling to be right back, so I want to see how he sort of does it right back. And I expect Connor Barron to start. So I'd like to see how we build the play when he's on the ball, or how we get it back into the middle if we're going to play it through the lines and whatever. Just to see if we've got a sort of style for a formation in the team, you know.
I get it. I mean, it might be a Herrera moment, if you know what I mean, Southside, yeah?
Yep,
But the boy came on last week and his passing was crisp, accurate, and his movement was good, yeah? Now, it's only a bounce game against Ajax. That means not a lot in the whole scheme of things, but first impressions, okay. I don't know what you're thinking, AK.
Oh, very, very similar to yourself, Ox. He brings a dynamism to the team, very energetic, and he's obviously keen to impress both the manager, his new teammates, and the support. He gave great interviews before he came. Obviously, it's a step up for him, but that's what he wants. You know, he's ambitious, shall we say, in his career, and he's at a far bigger club and a better platform what Aberdeen could ever offer him. So I am looking forward to see what he can bring to the team in the season ahead.
Aye. Me and you have debated this. I still see that Sterling could be a bigger asset in midfield. I might be proved wrong, Southside, but we'll keep our eye on and see how that runs.
Right, you can keep your eye on it, but he'll be right back, so you'll have nothing to worry about.
Looks that way.
I think so, mate. I think so.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how it goes tomorrow. Right, we had a show the other night there, and there was questions asked, and I know both of these listened. I mean, I got a lovely text from AK this morning. Can't remember that word. He called me. And the question...
Rain with tanker.
No, it wasn't a tanker. No. It started with the same letters as prize. Right, I'm going to ask you, put in the spot, Southside. Can we win the league? I asked that the other night. I'm always optimistic, or tinge with realism, and I think it's your good self, mate. Says it's a 2-team league.
Mm-hmm.
I've used the words in the past, and I don't make it be flippant. We're not being, we're not disrespecting other teams, but the term beat the dross, and that's where we failed in the running, and it cost us dearly. So I'm optimistic. I'm realistic. I'm always optimistic. I think we can win the league if we get our act together. Southside?
Aye, we can win the league. I always think we can win the league. We should have won it last year. So we'll all have additions. We'll bring additions into the squad over the next few weeks. Season kicks off 2 weeks tomorrow. It's no ideal, but we're only into about 2 weeks of the window opening. So we have to get players out. But aye, of course we can win the league, Ox. The manager done what he done last season, plugged gaps and holes with the squad he had, and he's trying to rebuild a squad to now and get us going. So aye, hopefully we'll bring in more additions. That'll be first team starters, and we'll take it for there.
AK?
Same camp.
I've always known these two were in the same camp.
Well, we're brought up to, believe we can be successful. I spoke with Southside the other night. You remember Mark Warburton, first year up in the Premier after we won promotion championship, and we display right across the Govan, we're here for 55, and he said that his heart sang. Well, we were all lambasting the likes of Mark Warburton for even thinking that. So why is Rangers support giving up the league before we even kicked a ball? Come on, there's plenty of business to be done. I know we've had some kickings in the past, but for goodness sake, we can't give it up before we've even kicked the ball. It's a 2-team league.
Do you know, AK, I actually understand it, and I think it's the hangover, mate, and it's no lifted. And let's be honest, between us, we've had a few hangovers, so we know what it's like. And that's what I think. I think that's the big influence in it, and I fully understand it, mate, because we were all gutted. Let's not kid ourselves, because we blew it.
Aye, but as a Rangers player, I think there's a quote there for Alan McCoist: when you get knocked out, do you lie in the dirt, or do you pull yourself up and roll your sleeves up and get in about it? Because that's what our club's all about. We're not used to, giving up anything. We fight to the end. Aye, we might not be happy with some business and whatever that we've done during the season so far. I'm not happy. I know you used to aren't happy. So there's a good majority of Rangers supporters not happy. But to be that negative, to give up the season before it's even started, nah. Let's see how it pans out and give them all a chance.
Aye. I'm sure there'll be bumps in the road, but we'll see what it takes. And well, if you go on a run and you get momentum, you never know what will happen Southside. Never know.
Well, it's just about getting off to a good start. We're going to play Hearts at Tynecastle, and we know we need to get 3 points. So that's where we start, and we'll just try and continue on going that way. Hopefully we'll have some more additions, and if we don't and they come in a few weeks later, then so be it, as long as they're strengthening the team and making the squad better and the first team players. So listen, aye, is it ideal? We're looking at the squad now, and you think everybody would like more players in. Of course we would. We'd like to have seen Clement put 7 or 8 players right now in that team pre-season training and getting ready to go, but it's not been possible. But they're trying their best, so I'm sure we will get players in. But aye, confident that we'll go and we'll start off with 3 points against Hearts, mate. Definitely.
All right. AK, I touched on it quite a lot on here, and sometimes I'm frustrated because there's players I would like to see leave the club, but I'm realistic enough to know that some of them are only going to move, and it's just pounds, shillings, and pence, mate.
It is, and you've said it many a time, and you're bang on. You couldn't have said a truer word. Financial fair play it has got us with the gonads now. And Clement's come out and said in his interview recently, we can't bring anybody in until we get movement of players out. So that's what we've got to operate with. That's what we've got to work with. And until that happens, then he's stuck in with these players. So I'm pretty sure the club's been, for the end of the season, maybe even probably before that, trying to get players moved on. And that's what we've got to do. But we've got to work within the remit of what we've got.
It's frustrating, mate. It's frustrating.
I would imagine Clement will be tearing his hair out if he'd much left it. You know what I mean? But this is the constraints that financial fair play bring to the club now.
He'll be as frustrated as Mrs. K, you know what I mean?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not done yet.
I've got my spies everywhere, AK.
Oh, surely no.
Let's just say Southside, the kettle wasn't even full.
Did he beat the kettle? Oh my dear.
The egg timer broke.
Right, aye, but I get it for sure. But I'll give you an example, Southside, right? And this is arguably what we've got. Let's say Clement did fancy another sort of number 10, that kind of position. But in a moment, we've got Tom Lawrence, Todd Cantwell, Hadji, and arguably Lammers on our books for that role. Yeah?
Yep.
Maybe talking about neither, maybe £7 million a year in wages. Yeah?
Aye.
Yeah, between them all.
Oh, aye.
And then all of a sudden, Clement says, I want somebody in. And I understand fully that even without the rules, we've got to get rid of one of them if that's what he wanted to do. And arguably two of them, Southside.
We'll have to, because of where we are in the financial fair play, because of what we brought in, what we bring in, you know, and what we're actually paying out in wages. So, and as much as we've probably maybe even got some players earmarked already, and they've maybe even agreed certain things in terms of, but we will have to free players up. And like you've just said, and if even Alex Lowry would even be competing in there, another guy who can play number 10. I know he's been nowhere near it, but he's back under Clement now, and it's another one that plays in there. It's shocking we've got that many number 10s, to be honest. So, no, they'll have to go up. We'll have to get rid of some, or some players will have to go. One or two might stay longer than we anticipate. Hopefully no that long. But I've got a feeling that one or two might just think, I can't match my wages anywhere else, so I'm quite happy to sit here. And that'll be the issue that Clement will have to deal with as well.
Aye, either that, you're going to have to make a deal with him, yeah.
Aye, and it's going to cost more money then to do that.
Aye.
But I can see, I mean, the likes of the Dutch clubs are coming in for Lammers, they're keen on Lammers, they like what they see, obviously, they seen him first hand last year, but if we're paying him, say, in excess of 20 grand a week and they're only offering him 10, he's not going to move anywhere. And we might have to look to give him, say, £1 million, plus for, you know, just to get him off the wage bill. We get him off the wage bill, we bring in a transfer fee, and all of a sudden that could free up, say, 4 or 5 million for Clement to bring in a player that he wants. So that's how it operates, the financial fair play.
Aye, it's frustrating, but we've been left with some players with circumstances historically. You know, we have got assets there. Young Hadji's an asset, Southside, and Lawrence, and maybe Cantwell, and young Lowry, people who've been interested in them. But, and obviously Lammers, but would if they Hadji, Lammers, Cantwell, Lawrence, and Lowry, if you had the choice, would you keep them? Would you keep them, Southside? Would you keep them? Would that be your choice, or would you try and replace that whole part of the team?
No, I think we need to replace it. Hadji should be sellable. He's got just didn't like the way his agent talked, and he did say I could buy him out his contract. So Rangers should just give him a price then. Hopefully he'll want to pay it with his brothers, as they said. We have to refresh an auction. We need to get they're commanding a decent wage, mystery players you've talked about, apart from Lowry. So Lammers, like AK was talking about as well, I don't know what he gets, but I've heard people saying he's even over 25. And if it is, that's criminal, because no many clubs in Holland will be able to pay him a good wage then and pay a transfer fee. So it's where we've got ourselves. And that's obviously Beale got to bring him in, and must have been, for him, it must have been Bisgrove, I take it would have signed off in that contract. Probably expecting it to be value for money, for him to come here and do a turn and be good, and then maybe sell him on or keep him for the 4 year, because he'll be here, he'll play well, he'll be an integral part of your team, and it's not turned out that way. So we know we've got to get players out the door. They're just not going quick enough, and that's due to the contracts, and some of them for the length of time they've got. Maybe one or two who you hope will go. I would say Kieran Dell, for instance. If nobody comes in from and we can't get rid of him, maybe Clement will make use of him. He is an experienced player. If he stays fit, then he might hit a batter for him. And that might be one player who a lot of people are thinking, myself included, probably should go, but might stay about and do a turn for Clement. He might not start every week, but he might contribute more than he's ever done since he's came in, because he's been hit with injuries.
I would shake hands and move on, but it's the length of the contracts. It's the length of the contracts and the amount of the contracts they're picking up, you know. We've got ourselves for, how do I put it? We've got ourselves in a predicament, because some of the assets, we'll take Hadji, right? We'll use Hadji. Well, the boy was really unlucky, wasn't he? And Knock's challenge, he has to get his knee rebuilt, you know. You know what I mean? What was that, 18 months ago now? You know, and maybe a bit longer. But so that's not anybody's fault, because he's an asset and he's an internationalist and he's a name and he's a brand. But if you're not playing, nobody's going to sign you, are they?
No, correct. And he needed game time. He wanted game time, but obviously the players that Beale had brought in into his position, Beale had obviously told him, then, well, you're further down the list than where you want to be. So if you want game time, I think it was Alaves that he went to. But you're right. Listen, there's people out there kind of scattergunning and that about the board and that as well. And they've got their faults. The only thing I could say about the board then is that they gave Michael Beale kind of like freelance at his signings. He's telling us he's done due diligence on it, but there's nobody in the board qualified to kind of question his recruitment on that, and that's where we're stuck. Is that the fault of the board for not going out there and getting a guy, or to replace Ross Wilson sooner, or even putting somebody football-minded on the board? Aye, you probably could question the board for that, but at the end of the day, I think they're still trusting Ross Wilson's. Beale was his man. He picked him in there, and I think the board actually backed Beale a lot on the signings, and that's what's come back to bite us, because we get rid of probably better players, Cholak, Sakala, Morelos, Arfield, Kent as well, but their contracts have run down different circumstances. But you can know what I'm saying, that the players that he brought in wasn't as good as him, and they were on deeper contracts than what they were previous good as well.
Well, people are going to move on every cycle, and the wages are going to go up. Southside, didn't they? If you've got somebody who's away you 4 year, when you bring the next person in the similar position, similar standard, unfortunately the wages are going to be higher. That's just the nature of this business.
Obviously, we didn't have a director of football in at the time as well, so that didn't help, because he's the guy that's going to, well, he's having to come in and sort the mess out for the players that's all here that come on. I'll probably want rid of, and they have to go, because they're commanding too much money and they're no contributing to the club, and we're going down a different path. So Niels Compton will have to, he's trying to wheel and deal at the moment, and it will take him on probably 2 or 3 transfer windows to get the complete package that he's looking for at our time. So I'm hoping that he's probably get deals in the pipeline, but he's still got to move these players on, and once he's there, he'll know when it's time to move a player on, because he'll have watched them for the next 2 years, because hopefully him and Clement will be there even for the next 4 year. So over that 4 year period, for the players that we're bringing in that he's identifying, we're hoping that they'll kick on, play well, and then when the time comes to move them on, he'll be the guy that'll move them on, and we'll bring new ones in because we'll have the continuity, and we'll come on and we'll know as a structure in a team what we need when we need it. At the moment, we need it all over the park, and it'll not be done, unfortunately. So we'll do what we can, and hopefully we'll see progress, and still keep a winning team on the park, Ops.
Arguably, I'm going to say something that's maybe a wee bit left field here. Yeah. We might have to give bigger contracts to get the players and the players that we would like, but we have to be more sensible with the bigger contracts, and there has to be different terms in them. Listen, everybody knows that the amount of money football players earn for your level up is obscene, but it's just the way the game's went. So we want to compete, but we're going to have to be smarter with the contracts. And it might be that the length, or it might be that you'll get a massive contract or big wages if you're in that first team. But if you're not in it, it might be different. Yeah, the contracts have to be different.
Well, it's a wee bit similar to what Souness implemented in Rangers probably for years ago. I think the likes of the big name players, Gary Stevens, Terry Butcher, Chris Wood, Trevor Stephen, they would come up here for similar money what they were on doing in England, but the incentive was the win bonus. It was winning trophies, it was progress into European Cups, winning the league titles, things like that. I think that's a good incentive to give the likes of, is what you're saying, that the squad, if you're on a basic, say, 10 grand or whatever, but if you're a regular first team player, then it increases to 20 grand, 20. Maybe that's what you're thinking of, but you're right, we've got to be smarter, because these players that we've had before, or we've got to know, 4-year contracts on 30 grand a week and all that, you're not going to move them on, and they're just going to sit there. Gareth Bale, Eden Hazard done the same with Real Madrid.
It's happened to every club, mate. It's happened to every club. And we just need to be smarter. And we might have to walk away from some deals outside. Yeah?
We might have to. We know why. Sometimes we pay a bigger wage for certain players to attract them up to this league, because this league is honking. We can guarantee them European football. So that's the incentive, and obviously it's a 2-team league, so you can come up here and usually you win trophies and honours on a regular basis, and then you play well. Usually someone might want to get back down the road and play in England, which is fair enough. And days gone by, we would normally sell them back down the road, but recently we've not done the transfer business the way we should have been. But you've got to remember where we were when we come back up, the standard of players that we had. So then we weren't going to be selling many players for a vast amount of money. We have been negligent at times on certain contracts of certain players, and they've walked. So hopefully, as Clement said and Coppin are saying now that they're in the building, it's not going to happen again. So we can only look forward to, hopefully, when players do leave, we'll see them command a decent transfer fee when they leave. But first and foremost, we want them to come into our team, play well and be successful. That's what we need first and foremost.
Yeah. That was a nice chat. See, you can be nice when you want to be, AK.
I'm nice all the time, it's you.
I've got the texts to prove
it. I told you to delete the photos outside.
I was asking after his father's welfare the day they come back with a torrent of abuse to me.
I know. I thought I gave him a comment as well. I think it was in your favour, and I get abuse and all. I just seen it actually not long ago. It was just 5 letters.
Torrent the abuse I got, and I was asking Mr. AK Senior. That's all I was doing.
Well, he said thanks for the compliments.
Right,
Don't be listening there chuckling away.
Right, let's get these phone lines up. Let's hear from these.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, we mentioned the number 10 position there, Southside, and I'm actually, Bridges won me over. I actually do think we need a centre half now, but we've got the same problem, mate. We've got 4, haven't we? And we've just gained Balogun a year for cover. So if you like, he's your cover man. I get that. It might work out for us, it might not. And if we're successful, we might hardly play again, but we've bought him as cover. But I think we need another centre half, but we've got another problem to get one in. It's better than what we've got. Somebody will need to go. I think that's the trouble, because we're not going to go for 45. Same argument for the number 10 role, Southside.
I think if we had an actual target at centre back, whether it be on the right or the left, and somebody really wanted us, and we get somebody out the door, we'll just use Hadji for an example and say Lammers. If we're still sitting with all the centre backs, but I think if it's somebody long term that he wants, I think he'll want to sign them and he'll want them in the first team to make the defence stronger. I know it's no ideal because we're still going to be sitting with all these centre backs, but I still think he would do it, and I think because we need to strengthen the centre backs at some point. I get that we've got them in there, and you'll probably get by with some of them for a period of time, but you want better quality in there than what we've got. I thought so. Between that, it's probably centre backs and centre forward is probably the main priorities for him now, I think. Unless he's happy with the centre backs, Oxley now, but I believe we need to strengthen in their left and right hand side, to be honest.
There you go, that's 2 he's wanting. He's greedy. He's always greedy.
I noticed that on Saturday. He's greedy, all right.
It was vodka, no pies.
Stevie was in pie heaven. But nah, you're right. Listen, I think if Clement could get about 6, 7 replacements on the current squad that we've got now, that I think is what we're looking for. But as you say, we've got to move players on before we can get anybody in. It's just the financial fair play is just capping us in, and we've got to play within the means, because if we overstate that, if I could impose all sorts of sanctions on us, and we don't want that. That's the last thing we need.
No, I don't think we'll be doing that route. You know, listen, I want players to leave if the manager wants them to leave. Sometimes you get an offer for the player and the manager will not want them to leave, and it makes business sense, and the player has to go. I get that. You know, because I want Phil Clement to have a chance here to do what he wants. Now, you'll never always get your number 1 targets. I don't even think Real Madrid do. You know, so everyone they want. So you've got to accept that sometimes you've got to wheel and deal, and you've got to keep players that you maybe would rather move on. That's football. But we'll see where it goes with the squad. But I centre back, number 10s, you know, and we seem to have a glut of them, and then we're short in other areas, Southside.
Aye, right winger. Been short there for a long time. Aye, listen, they cannot play in there. I take it we'll probably play the 4-2-3-1 idea again. So means they're going to be sitting with this sort of number 10. But also, I'd be interested to see who starts on Saturday going forward in that position. Probably I would take a guess at the moment and think it'll probably be Tom Lawrence again. But it'll be interesting. That's what I'm waiting to see how the next 2 friendly games. I know there's 3 Union Berlin again next week, but over the next 2 anyway, leading up, I know he'll change it slightly here and there, but it'll be interesting to see sort of starting 11 now going forward, since we've not added any more new additions yet. So he will start to form the shape of a team. He's got to, you know.
I'm sure he will. Listen, I don't mind Tom Lawrence as a footballer. I think technically he's got a lot going for him. He can strike a ball. He's reasonably brave. His technique's good. But he's got that big flaw, AK. He's absolutely no pace. Yeah.
Aye, he's no pace, and last year, unfortunately, he was unreliable through no fault of his own. Picked up an injury in training, didn't he? The year before, and it's kind of hampered him. So we've not seen the best of Lawrence. Is Clement going to keep him on? Who knows? He's certainly a good squad player, I would imagine. But it depends.
Time to go for Kinmate for me.
Well, I would tend to agree with you. I just want Clement to have as many of his own players in his own team as what he can, because this bouncing from manager to manager for year to year or every 18 months, and you're basically running with previous managers' players, is no good. This rebuild has been happened. Should have been done probably 2-3 years ago, and we've just kind of scraped our way through things, and we're not winning, so it's not working. So we need something, drastically changed.
A lot of the mistakes are hindsight mistakes, aren't they? You know, you know, if we go back to 2021, when we won the league, and we were all, I can't remember, I've no listened back, but if you listen to the shows, you most likely find that the majority of people felt we should keep Morelos and Kent, and maybe the manager, Stevie G, and so we kept him, but economically, that come back to bite us, you know. If the offers were on the table and they were willing to go, you know, and so it's hindsight. A lot of these mistakes are mistakes in hindsight, you know, and the length of contracts and keeping players and giving players too long a contract. There's ones that's glaringly obvious, like the Connor Golson 4-year extension. No offence to him, I think he's been a good servant for his South Side, but 4 years at his age, it's a no-no. But if he walks away this summer and we get a right few quid for him, you could argue economically the guys have made the right decision, because if we'd only give him 2 years, he'd have walked away for nothing. So, what do I know?
Aye, it's like anything. We've took gambles on some of the players' auction, like you said. We might get money for them, we might not. At the end of the day, I mean, listen, you're talking about, even Ben Davis, right, 4 million, decent read of the game, been injury prone to a part, didn't really play at Liverpool, and we bring him in and he just gets injured and doesn't kick on. If he's successful since he came in and was playing regular every week, we could manage to have turned him. The same as we've done with Todd Cantwell at the moment. You know, Tom Lawrence is in the same bracket, never injured, played regular, decent player, like he gave out what he can do, both feet, shoot, good vision, lacks the pace, but had been reliable and durable in the Championship. Comes to us, we expect him to kick on, be the same player, we experience, and it doesn't happen. Same with Ben Davis. And now they're commanding chunky money, and that's where we're looking to see can we move them on, and that's the predicament we've been in. And Dow, you'll add in, is the same. You know, no kicked on, but expecting them to come in up to Scotland and be able to get in that team and play regular. So we've went for players paid the decent money. They've picked up injuries and no managed to come back and kick on, and that's been another problem as well that we've had to deal with. So is it either bad recruitment, we shouldn't have got them, paid that type of money, but it's a decision that you look back on, and then you can only judge when they've not been contributing on the part on a regular basis.
Yeah, mate. But something about the Ox contracts, I bet some of the injuries would disappear.
Aye, definitely. It's the same as your work, innit? If you're not getting your full pay, all of a sudden you feel fit enough to go back to your work. But I wouldn't know about anything like that, you know.
I'm not going to comment on that. Wouldn't be correct. Carry on.
No, but it's coming back to bite us. I've been on about poor recruitment for a while, but it's just as the wages have increased, but I think I'd be right in saying for a couple of years ago, I think certainly our players' wages was running about the kind of 30 million, and now I think we're up to running about the 42 million, and we see the lack of trophies that we've got in the last couple of years. That's where the alarm bells start, ringing with the Rangers support. You're rewarding failure, basically. As you say, Connor Golson should never have got that contract, and then on the bounce of that, Tavernier gets a 2-year extension as well. You're rewarding failure.
The decisions, which I thought were wrong, and still do, if they walk away for your club this summer and we get a hefty bit of wedge in, their decisions have proved to be right.
Well, this is the gamble with the transfer market.
As much as
we've watched Lundstrom walk away for nothing, and Barisic and Kent and Morelos, and that's where we've been stung as well. But I understand what you're saying, Ox.
Because listen, I don't think Connor should have got a 4-year deal, but maybe if he'd a 2-year but a 1-year extension, we'd have still got money from him. But because if we'd only given him a 2-year deal, he'd have walked away this summer for nothing money. And if we get money in for him and James T, ultimately the people who do the contracts economically have proved to be right, and the rest is majorities have been right. So, AK.
Aye, in essence, you're right, but you wonder why that the likes of Connor Golson, Tavernier, Morelos, Kent wasn't on the radar of all the big clubs, 2 years ago in the back of a European final. It's only like 2 years down the line where the clubs are starting to show an interest. When Trabzonspor are allegedly interested in Tavernier, they've already got Lundstrom, they've already got Barisic. They want to put the old boys back together again. If we're benefiting out of that, they can come and take more if they want.
Yeah, put the band back together.
Aye.
But aye. Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, these rumours are only rumours. Southside, you never know in football,
No, at the moment there are rumours. And I take it they put a bid in or something, I believe. I think there's something just broke no longer. Rangers have turned down a bid, the original bid or whatever, but we'll see if it's true or not. I expect probably we will get rid of some players. It's just taking longer than we thought. But like you say, when you're on a hefty contract and a decent contract with a couple of years left, 1 or 2 might say, look, I want to try and stay fight for my place, and I'm just staying now and see what happens. But like I say, there'll be one, or there'll probably 1, maybe 2 out the core group that would probably all like to see move on. There's probably another 7 players I could probably think off the top of my head that I want to leave. So, but it probably no happen. So there will be 1 or 2 I would expect still to be about, and it'll be how Clement uses them, how if he puts them in the team, and how they play when they're in the team. And if they win and they're playing well, then that's what we want them to do. And we want them to play well to get results for us to get winning. So that's what it'll have to be at the moment, Ox. But it'll be down to come on to see if they play or they don't.
As long as it's him, he's getting hit what he wants, yeah, and he's not getting too. I know I accept that most managers are huffing at him or following him tied behind their back, but as long as he's not got his 2 arms tied behind his back, he care.
No, exactly. I mean, the clubs have got to operate, as diligently as they can, and there's no point in forcing players onto a manager that he doesn't want. I think that's possibly where we went wrong. I've certainly got suspicions of that, as you know. But Clement needs his own players and players that he trusts, players that he knows, and he needs to offload before he can get them in. If he gets the players in, I've got every faith and trust that Clement will be a success as a Rangers manager.
He seems a straight shooter. I mean, sometimes maybe too straight, Southside.
Aye, I like listening to him, but he knows sometimes he will be guarded on what he says. But I like listening to him. I'm just hoping that we can get the right type of. Well, he's going to go for I hope he gets the main players he's looking at, because you'll have an EBC, as we all know, or an A and a B, and hopefully we'll get the players that's on the list. Everybody's frustrated. We get it. A lot of people are getting a bit irate. There's a bit of a meltdown happening. Just need to stay calm, and hope that you'll get it done as the weeks go by. And it is 2 weeks tomorrow to be play Hearts. It's no far away, is it? But it'll be what it'll be, Ox. And I don't think that I'd be too worried if I've got this group of players at the moment and we don't add to it for that one game. Still think they're good enough to go and beat Hearts.
I'm interested. I think what people question then is if the difficulty if you've sort of told players you want that many players that you don't want them is how you build a team, because I think with all the players that people don't want, and people have different lists, and a lot of them will be the same names, but there'll be different ones in different people's lists. It's a lot of players, and I don't think that it's not going to happen as complete as the support would like, AK.
No, you're right. I mean, as you say, we spoke about it at length a lot of the shows last year, and Albert likes his list. If it was up to Albert, you could be looking at an exit with about 15 to 20 players, but that's just no feasible. And
we've got a sponsor for his list this year. Andrex.
It's a bit of length yet.
He's just texted me with a name that nobody's mentioned. Cifuentes. I forgot about him. I
I've got him on my list.
I think he's there to still on loan to December or something. He
was meant to be a game changer. That's what Bill told his mind. But see, when you look at that European final team, though, Oxford, I had a wee look at it tonight before I came on. McGregor, Tav, Golson, Bassey, Barisic, Lundstrom, Jack, Kamara, Wright, Aribo, Kent. There's only Tav, Golson and Wright left out of that team, and hopefully all of them are exiting this year. I can't believe Scott Wright's still there.
Aye. Well, aye. We got money for Aribo, we got money for Bassey, we got money for Kamara,
Yep. And Sakala on the bench.
Sakala, come on, obviously McGregor retired, Arfield pretty much retired. I know he went to America for the year. Right, Jack's still not got a club. He's moved on, obviously Barisic and Lundstrom have run down their contracts. No got extensions. I don't think the support, or myself included, didn't want to give them extensions. Moved on, It was quite it was a team. It wasn't a young team, if I'm being honest. Southside, was it?
No, I wasn't young at all, mate. Maybe that's how a lot of so I heard you saying a lot. Sometimes people come in for your players when you've been to a European final, but just what you said there, Arfield was chucking it, and apart from Aribo and that, moved on. Nobody came for the players, did they? Nobody sort of showed an interest in them, which you probably find a lot of players do get sold for when they get to European finals. Some players move on through it. We are with our Ox. We're looking to add a wee bit of experience, and the funny thing is, we've actually got players there that have got experience, and we're just wanting them out the door now. Because if you class Dell and Tom Lawrence as, you can't say they're no experienced players,
No.
And if you put them into your midfield, and we're looking for a midfielder, but as long as it's no Kenny McLean, mate, that just doesn't make sense, So no, I'm looking for a bit.
Only makes sense for me if the manager wants them.
If the manager wants him, he would be thinking, and he's the main man, and he'll play week in, week out.
If you take Kenny's age and the model of the club and all the things, if you take all that, it doesn't make sense. But if the manager wants him for his own reasons, might be I need this guy with experience for 2 years with whoever he's got planned to be in there, Diamondi and maybe Barron, and he said, I need an all-heed in there. If that's what the manager wants, I'm all right with it. Yeah, if it's what the manager wants, if that makes sense, AK.
No, you're right, and we touched on it earlier. Clermont mustered the final say on players coming and going. That's what the manager's there for. He's there to utilise his squad. Some of the players he's currently got, I think he's already made his mind up on them. I think the likes of Cantwell and that, I think has got to get moved on. Obviously Lammers, I think it's going to get moved on. And there'll probably be other ones he's come out there, and under no circumstances, the likes of Jack Butland, we need to keep him. Connor Barn coming in, brilliant. Diamondi, good midfielder, I would say. Cortez, I'm looking forward to a fully fit Cortez. Danilo there, hopefully he's got goals in him. Dessers, that's a question, a debatable one.
Let's talk about Dessers, right? Let's talk about Dessers. If you actually look at his goal numbers, it's one of the best we've had for a while, Southside. If you look at his play, you might come up with different thoughts, Biggie.
Aye, his first season didn't play every week. I mean, he'd come on, took him out of the team probably because he knew he was the main sort of striker we only had fit, and gave him a rest when he was on a wee goals return at the time. I think he scored 2 or 3 weeks running. Aye, he gets himself into some positions. He gets himself into the positions where you expect him to score. He's not a predator. He's not somebody that goes and sort of sniffs out a goal about the edge of the box. His first touch isn't great in some games. Some games it is, where you notice in the first 5-10 minutes. But I think his overall play just isn't good enough. But he still returned 22 goals. He was at that age. I don't think playing for Rangers phases him. I think he came in and he settled in straight away. You know, sometimes players don't settle in and that. He did, but he settled into missing a lot of chances as well, and crucial ones at times. But aye, if clubs want him, because he looks like he does score a sort of amount of goals where he's been at certain clubs, then if they want him, then hopefully if they give the right price, we'll move him on. But we will have to get another couple of strikers in.
If you let me know when that happens, I will personally pick him up, make sure he's all right getting to the airport.
I think we'll all chip in, I know. No, but you're right, Southside.
There'll be no charge, JK.
The squad's been back for around a week now from the training camp. How has this week been back in Scotland?
It was really good. We had a few really tough sessions. It was important also to get the injured players in those sessions, so they coped well. Players who were a long time out, like Oster, like Danny, they did both sessions and they didn't have reaction afterwards. So that's a big step forward, and the rest of the team also. They have some more power in the legs now after the recovery, and now it's a very important week for all of them. So we have the Manchester United game, we have the Birmingham game, we have the Union Berlin game, and also a game with the second team tomorrow. So everybody will get playing minutes now.
Yeah, just on the game tomorrow, what kind of squad can we expect to see at Murrayfield?
A good squad, but it's planned that the guys who start, that most of them will play 75 minutes or 80 minutes max. And the guys who will be on the bench, those will be the guys normally to start the Birmingham game.
Yeah, just a word on Todd Cantwell and James Tavernier. They've both been injured, of course, in pre-season. Can you give us an update on how they're doing at the moment?
Tav is getting better. He's close off training with the team, and Todd is training with the team, but he's not ready to play with the first team, so we'll play with the second team on Saturday.
Is that important, like you say, at this stage, for players to be treated really on an individual basis of what they need in terms of minutes?
Yeah, of course. We're going to go in a massive month of August and then September and October and November with a lot of games. So we need to make all the squad ready for that, and that they have enough playing minutes in their legs. That's the physical part, but also, of course, the tactical and technical part. We need to use these games also to do the right things together.
A word on Nico Raskin. He was obviously pictured in a boot after the Ajax game. Do you have an update on his injury?
He will be out for 5 to 6 weeks at the prognosis. I expected it worse if I saw him straight after the game, but still it's a really bad injury.
Yeah, and really working hard.
Yes, and he had then the bad injury last season also, and this was again a really unlucky one with a bad tackle where he was blocked, and the other guy falls with all his body weight on his ankle, and it snapped like that. So it's not a good thing, but the good thing is that he works hard and he's very motivated to come back as fast as possible.
One player who's come into the building most recently is Hamza. How has he been settling in? You obviously mentioned before it's a big change off the pitch for him too.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive change of culture, everything, the life here, the way of training, the way of working, the language also. So we have also an interpreter now here to translate for him. He speaks a little bit French, so that's good that I can speak French also with him and help in that way a bit. But yeah, it's a big step for him, also training-wise. So he's way behind the others for the moment, and we are first working with him individually to make him stronger and then to put him in the collective trainings.
You touched a bit earlier as well on Danilo and Oscar Cortez. Danny obviously came back in Ajax game 2. Have they come through these training sessions okay? Are they looking?
Yeah, very good. So Danny's been still a little bit nervous with the knee the first couple of weeks, and that's normal. After an injury like that, and in the beginning you always get a little bit reaction, but now he had the really 2 tough sessions and there was no reaction in the knee, so it's a really good sign. And you see him back with a big smile in the dressing room and in all the buildings. So in that way you see he's starting to become the old Danny again.
In terms of the Man United game tomorrow, what are you wanting to get out of this one? I know you talk about minutes there, but is it the challenge really to raise the level again?
Of course, week by week we need to grow, we need to become better. The Standard game was better than the Hamilton game. The Ajax game was better than the Standard game, and I want to make a next step in that way. It's also necessary, of course, against a team with the qualities of Man U, although they will not be with a full squad, but with a lot of young talents who can maybe be the stars of the future. So no, it's going to be a really interesting test, and always excited to see what the team can show at that level now. Physically, I know where they are. They're not there yet where we need to be in August, but that's normal. We're still just in the 4th week. And it's about tactically doing the right things together also.
Yeah, you touched on it being a big week with the 3 games. Is that the idea to kind of mirror what it will look like when the games come in a competitive level?
Yes, I've chosen a lot of difficult games. I didn't want to have a preparation we were the kings of the preparation, and you get surprised when you play the first league games and for sure in Europe also. So it had to be all really big tests at the right moments, and that's the way to grow. So if you make mistakes against that kind of opponents, you pay cash, but we can learn out of that again to not make these mistakes in August and September and October. So it's so important to have really good games, strong games where the team is challenged in every sense.
Yeah, and just finally, as of course the only friendly in Scotland, it'll be good to get back in front of the fans again, I'm sure.
Yeah, we miss them. It feels like it's 6 months ago or something. So we will be really happy to see them back. Everybody's really excited about that. In the past, I hear there were a lot of friendly games also played at Ibrox. Was not possible this year, so we miss to see the fans.
Right, thanks for that, lads. We just missed the intro there. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Come on, seems upbeat. Southside.
It seems to be happy with. Still getting feedback.
Oh. AK.
We're good to go. Gremlin's in the show tonight.
Just keep talking, mate. Just keep talking.
Aye, no worries. Aye, listen, he seems positive. As positive as can be. He's looking forward to getting back on the football field, and that's where he's good at. That's where he's comfortable. You know, no doing the interviews. Although he's very good the way he speaks for me. Speaks a lot of sense, as you say, but he's looking forward to working with the new players, implementing his system. I'm not so sure whether he might alter that system, the 4-2-3-1. I think we could be a wee bit more positive.
Are you a fan of that shit?
No, I'm not really. I watched a lot of the Euro football there, and England started playing that system, and they eventually adopted to a 3-4-3, which was a lot more expansive to the intelligent attacking footballers. I'm not saying that we could go 3-4-3, but the likes of watch the likes of Austria and Holland in that play the attacking foot. Turkey, I don't know how you felt about it yourself. Obviously, I'm getting a wee bit after, but I think the more expansive football, I think we would be better going forward.
All right. That'll be interesting. You mentioned a couple of players there. Danilo and Raskin, and when you look at the injuries, mate, young Raskin last week, and then obviously Danilo's coming back, and he's saying he's getting there slowly. And I understand it, because, God, he was unlucky last year, with his cheek and then his leg, yeah. AK.
Aye. It's Danilo needs the fitness up, didn't he? He looked a wee bit chunky last week, for what I can remember. I was there, I watched the game, but I can't remember a lot. As you say, Connor Barron, he was the kind of standout player, but if we can get the kind of new signings on board and on the field as soon as, then that all goes well for the future and for Clement.
Danilo, if hopefully it could be like a new signing, we'll see what it takes us with him. Southside,
be good to see him get some more minutes and build his fitness up, because we hardly seen much of him. Wee flashes, missed a few sitters when he first came as well, and then got on the score sheet, and then was just hit with 2 horrendous injuries that's kept him out. It will feel a wee bit like getting a new player back. Hopefully he'll get his confidence, probably when he goes out and plays another game or two and he takes one of these sort of tough tackles. I'm sure he'll get motoring and get on with it, but I can imagine he'll be a wee bit worried at the moment, because he's had quite a bit of time out and he doesn't want to be back out again. So it's about building him up in fitness, and hopefully he'll be ready to go in a few weeks down the lineups and get back in the goals trail for us.
what's your thoughts? Mate, I know he didn't. He's moving better and Dessers and his control, but he sometimes didn't look your most natural finisher neither, did he?
No, Lack's height, didn't look prolific. He could have scored a few more. I mean, we've criticised Dessers for missing. He done it as well, in certain games. But he works hard for the team. He'll seem to be able to control the ball well, bring other players in about it. He worked hard. I think he would work good on the press. I think if we get it right, if he was your focal point, he has got a bit of pace. Well, he did have before he went out with his injuries. I think if we get that right as a team, he'll benefit as well, because I think he always said before he came, I'm a hard-working player, I work for the team. That was his ethic. So I didn't see anything in the games that I watched him that was any different. So hopefully over a period of time he'll get that fitness level up, and then it's just about taking chances when we create them. Does he look like he could score every week? You'd like to think so, that he'd be the guy that if he was playing regular, he would see him that, or even coming on, you'd think, here, he's got a chance of scoring. Sometimes when Dessers was coming on, you're thinking, really, is he going to score? You get a different feeling of anticipation. But I just want to see him back fit in the Rangers jersey, and if he merits a start and can mould him into the team, then I think he'll do well in time going forward, Docs. But it's just about building himself back up and getting his confidence back.
And I wondered about the bad luck for Nico Raskin.
Aye, 5-6 weeks. Aye, it's not what we want to hear. Not great at all, because I was hoping that he would have pushed the players that's in there, whether it be Connor Barron and obviously Diamonde, and I was hoping that he would have been fit and fighting for that place in there as well, and anybody else that come on thinking that merits maybe a chance or coming on as a sub, getting into that position. So disappointing it's going to be 5 or 6 weeks, and then by the time he comes back, it might take another couple of weeks to maybe even get into the team. So it's a blow that unfortunately we're used to, but we're hoping it wouldn't be happening this year.
Can I catch a break, AK? Can I catch a break?
No, definitely no. But as you've said many a times, Silver Cloud and all that, as one door shuts, another door opens. So instead of maybe Connor Barron kicking his heels for a few games on the sidelines, he's probably going to find himself straight into a team. So that wee guy will be bursting to make a good impression, cement the jersey, and hopefully him and Diamonde, I would imagine, playing together, strike up a good partnership, good balance. So, aye, that's football, as you say. Somebody bad luck, and it makes it your good luck.
It's certainly football, but we've seen with a bad run it. Hopefully it starts turning around right. Right, boys, get yourself a mute and hopefully we'll get some callers after the tune.
What the Rangers really mean to me. These last few years I've been afraid that we might drift away. So I've been telling old stories and singing songs, made me think about where we come from. That's the reason why I feel so very proud today. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Irish Stadium was good, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. We won 9 in a row, and I'm still dreaming of Brian Laudrup and Trevor Stephen. Marvin Andrews said, keep believing. Davy Cooper on the wing. We remember Gaza with great affection, the day the helicopter changed direction. Jimmy Baxter, he was pure perfection. Super Ali scores again. Well, let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Ibrox Stadium's cozy, and now I'm coming home. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more than sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had. To think of life without the Rangers, you know that it would make me more sad. Glasgow Rangers is everything I've ever had.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, thanks for that, Fox. We're having a few wee gremlins tonight. That's it. We're having a pre-season as well, AK.
There'll be a few going to the fitness programme. Need to up that.
I don't know if it'll be the fitness programme. It might be some kind of programme or some help.
Aye, definitely. The boys will be back.
Right, okay. Come and join us. 0141 356 1972 as a phone intro. Listen, I know people get different views to us. You're welcome to share them here. Yeah? Southside.
Aye, listen, if there's anybody out there listening to the show and wants to phone in and put a perspective of what they think's happening and what they think should be changed, if that's the way they feel or whatever, how they feel about Rangers, because at the end of the day, we all want the best for the club. And I know there's been a bit of meltdown in certain things that I've sort of seen in reactions. One or two of my pals and all are pretty happy at the moment. But listen, that's the thing. We all want the best for the club. So we just hope that going forward, we'll get the players in, we'll get some players out, and we'll see some more changes and something a wee bit more optimistic to look forward to. But the most important thing is we start the first league game with 3 points, and that's the most important thing. And whoever kicks off that day in the 11 for Rangers, we'll cheer them for the stands, and we'll hope that they get the 3 points, and then we just take it for their rocks. And it's just like you say, I think it's a bit of a hangover for last year and all. But we want what's best for the club. I don't know, maybe later if you want to see, I think there's the fans advisory board. I've been talking to the club as well, and they're supposed to be going to put points across for the supporters, and they've been pretty open and saying contact them if there's stuff you want to tell them or say, and because that's what it's there for. So it's positive that way. They seem to be positive about the job they're going to be doing going forward and speaking to the board. I know they've had a bit of criticism, but it's something that it should be good overall for the support. So a lot of people are saying we don't hear anything, we can't say anything. So we've got these 7 people that are willing to talk to the board and put questions to them for answers.
Okay, what would you ask them then, Aki? Yeah, you had that one question. What would it be?
Oh God!
Would it be about the financial play? Would you like to know what the handcuffs of that are?
Aye. Well, I done a wee bit of digging on it myself, and I'm sure you're pretty aware of it. It's not every Rangers support. I mean, I'm reading a lot of platforms, I'm hearing a lot of shows. Sack the board, sack the manager, how we know bringing in players, blah, blah, blah. If anybody looks at the financial fair play breakdown, it basically tells you why. And it's, you've got to operate within your means, and it's not just for the benefit of UEFA or that, it's actually for the benefit of the club, because there was a lot of clubs across Europe spending well beyond their means. So they introduced it, I believe, back in 2011, 2012, and there's been a lot of big clubs being sanctioned through this method. You know, the Man Cities, your PSGs, Milans, Juventus, Roma, Bars, massive clubs right across Europe. So it's not just us, but it's to help us, you know, work within our means. Sometimes the restrictions on it you feel can be too much, but you know, 82 million, I believe, the turnover that we brought in there last year, but we're paying that wage bill of 64 million. So we've no got a lot to work with the rest of the club, you know, and we can't go over that 82 million. Otherwise, we've become sanctioned with UEFA, with fines and transfer embargoes and stuff like that. So that's the reason why Clermont has come out and said we can't bring anybody in until we get players out. Not that we've not got any money. We have got, we've got a billionaire on our director, Stuart Gibson.
But the billionaires can't put, because of the financial play and the way they can't put money direct, it's got to come to the turnover. Yeah?
Absolutely. And you look at Newcastle. Newcastle are the richest club in the world now with the ownership that they've got, but because of the restrictions, they can't just keep firing into their team. So that's the reason why we can't bring in the signings that Clermont wants right away. We need to get rid of players to keep within that parameter of what we're actually running at. That's as best as I could explain it. You could maybe break it down better.
That's fine, mate. But I just think when we've actually discussed it in a roundabout way the night outside when we talked about the centre halves, the number 10, and you can dress it up as financial fair play if you want, but the bottom line is it's common sense. We'll get that many of them that would maybe no play. If we wanted to bring in an improvement, we'd have to get rid of somebody, and in some positions maybe two. Thinking that.
Aye, and some of them are going to cost a transfer fee. Because let's not be kidded. It's peanuts, right, to a lot of clubs and everybody else in other leagues. But when we're shelling out £4 million in players, which we have done over the last few years, and the problem is, but people might say we've overspent on them because we've not had a return for many of them, But I think if Clemont's looking at players, no, everybody's going to be a free. There will probably be money sitting there that they could go out and buy a player. But like you say, until we shift some and bring this wage bill down and get the money in, it's harder for us to act, and that's because we've put ourselves in this position over a period of time where he's thinking, because we went through so many managers, and now we've probably got the right manager, and he's got to deal with the mess now that he's left with to try and overhaul his squad again, which we done last season. The same idea, and we're back to where we are again. So it's no help that we've put ourselves in this position, and some of these players haven't turned up and performed either and played on a regular basis, or we would have been seeing a return on the marks.
Maybe. People getting injured and that can't be helped. You might want to get rid of them. You take Kemar Roof, for instance. We all know that Kemar Roof is a good player, but his minutes on the pitch was dreadful. But then you see his goals for his minutes on the pitch, that was superb. And arguably, he paid for himself. Bizarrely as it seems when you look at the goals he scored to earn his money, it's mental. But, he was there for 4 years and ultimately hardly kicked the ball, really. But, aye. What do you do? I don't know what the answer is. I haven't. We all want rid of certain players, and if the board doesn't back the manager at the time, Beale or Gio, when he wants new players in, we don't like it, and we want them to back the manager. Then we back the manager 6 months down the line, we get rid of that manager for whatever reason, and then you're left with players that managers don't want.
It's a bad cycle. It's a bad cycle for the club, but ultimately, I think where the errors get made is the poor recruitment in the first place. As you say, bringing in Roof, we brought in Hollander, we brought in Ryan Jack, guys with injury records, and unfortunately, if they're going to be more time on the injury treatment table rather than playing for the club, instead of becoming an asset for the club, they depreciate, but they're still earning big money, and we can't recoup that money. So you're right in that sense.
Okay, I think Bob just joined us. Evening, Bob J.
Good evening. Happy new season, everybody.
Evening, Bob.
So, I hope so.
All right, aye. I just listened to the show there. It was very well explained. I was to be very well aware of the fundamentals of this fair play system. It was very well explained there 5 minutes ago. And you say Rangers are a club that got to stay within the constraints of that. We haven't got the money to go over it anyway. I just want to know, Hawks and everybody, just what the hell is going on at your great club. Every day it seems to be despondency. And we didn't look in a fit shape, let's be honest, to try and take these people on this year and win this league. I didn't think we are anyway.
Right.
Maybe that's a big statement, a big bold statement, I don't know.
Here's my theory on it, and Southside can come in after me. Yeah, here's my theory on it, my take on it. Right, obviously there's mistakes being made, and we can talk about steel work and when batches of steel.
That's a different thing, aye.
The cows go home. Somebody's made an error. Obviously, it's cost us some money, and we'll see what happens with that going forward. We shouldn't forget what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring more revenue into the club, we have more seats, and we're also trying to reward our disabled supporters that have been treated shabbily for decades now. So there's a good thing and the bad thing. The as far as the players are concerned, the hangover is just massive. Maybe the hangover maybe kicked in around about March. It's been one of the worst hangovers. The only guy I've ever known to have a hangover like it is your Andy Mack, right? Right, but and then we don't get rid of players. We've all got players we want rid of. We can't get rid of them, and they're still there, and it frustrates people. And then the players we bring in aren't the players that we particularly want, because we're not shopping in that market anymore. That's just the reality. Southside.
Aye, there's been a meltdown, Bob J, obviously, because of the work it was getting done, and and then now we know it's going to be delayed, and everything that's snowballed for there. Club didn't say a lot because there's probably not a lot they could really do. They wanted to update supporters, and they've probably waited a bit longer than they should have. Bennett's now come out and said that we've moved on. We'll hear at the end of the month. They might have a more definitive answer for us when the steels arrived, the work started, and then they might have an idea, and there might be other things that they know periodic of time. Then we'll have an idea on that. So that'll be that part. Football and recruitment, as we said, we've tried to get it right, but we've had 2 or 3 managers over that period of time. I mean, Bob Ger, if you think about it, we spent 4.2 million roughly on Ben Davis. We spent about 4 or 5 on Dessers. Danilo was about 5 million. Right. Yilmaz was close to 5 after add-ons probably. Diamondi, we've committed to the 4.5 million, and Lammers 3.5 million. Now, so a lot of money shelled out there. It's probably no, and what have we had in return really? Yilmaz looks promising, looks all right when he's had a run in the team, but never really been fit. I think Diamondi's a guy who will kick on. We gave him a 5-year contract. I'd like to think he'll be here, hopefully be successful, then he'll want to move and we'll sell him on for good money. The rest of them, it's the ones. Danilo, obviously been really unlucky with injuries. So we have spent money in certain areas. I mean, we've not been shy of doing it. It's just that these players haven't been fit and available week in, week out, apart from Dessers, really, who scored 22 goals in all competitions in his first season. So, but still no good enough overall as a player. So, you could probably have overspent on certain players. It's just most of these players, Lammers just needs to go, but he's on a high wage. And that's down to the recruitment and who sanctioned that. Obviously, we thought he'd be a success. He has been at Utrecht by all accounts for what he's done, but he's on too much money wage-wise for them to want to buy him. They can probably afford a transfer fee, but they can't afford his wages. And that's where we are at the moment, Bob Ger. So hopefully in time some of these players will manage to move on and Clement will get a chance to go and get his players that he wants. But I'll never be defeatist. We can still go on and win this league. Just have to believe. And hopefully our football and players that we bring in that will be first team players hopefully soon. I'll add the quality of the squad, and then once that stadium's back, we're back in Ibrox, things will start to settle down, and hopefully the team will be winning. Bob Ger, that's the way I see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, thanks for all. We all want what's best for the club. We can't shop at top drawer anymore. And fundamentally, we're all just sick to death of watching along the road who are an ordinary side running away with the league every year, running away with the cups with an ordinary manager. Anyway, enough of decrying them. We've reached a brick wall. We can't keep sacking managers, ripping up squads. I don't know. That's, as I say, it's reached a brick wall with me anyway. I don't care any way around it. And I certainly hope there is. And I'm not being defeatist. I'm just saying a point.
No, one football matches, Bob Ger, consistent.
That's it.
Yeah, one football matches, and if we'd have won the football matches,
well, we're in the worst league in Europe. So,
if we won the football matches, that running March, it started. Where did it start? Ross County, I think. AK. Yeah, and that's where the hangover kicked in, mate, and it's not lifted, and I fully understand it because I feel a lot of the pain myself. AK.
It was, funnily enough, it was all round about that Dundee debacle, wasn't it? There was a lot of made go out of that, but ultimately we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. For me, the game Motherwell Ibrox, that's when it started to unravel, with the chance actually, if I remember right, to go top of the league that day, and then Celtic dropped points at Hearts the following day. But for there, it's just there's a weakness in the mentality. And the team that we all recognise, because we've all been on the show asking for change with the players. Well, I just named a team for 2 years ago. It got to the European final. There's only 3 players left of that team, so we've had the changes in the players, we've had the changes in the manager, we've had the changes in the directorship, and it's still not working. So we need to stop scattergunning and blaming
what was
people.
The mistake then? Obviously, Gerrard left and we sacked 2 managers. So what was the mistake then? In your opinion, just quickly, what was the big error?
In my opinion, not backing Gerrard when we should have.
Yeah, but what are you talking about? Oh, I'll come back to you.
No problem.
Even Evening, Jim. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic here in San Francisco, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you know what's that?
I'm not seeing these off, by the way. Brilliant, man. Listen, I'm sorry for cutting the ears up. Let's get on with this Todd Cantwell situation. I'm just reading Bravo Forward. Absolutely unbelievable.
Todd Cantwell. Well, the managers just seem to be playing with the B team.
Right, sorry. Listen, I'm just jumping into the motor here now. I'm just jumping in the car here. And my boy's motor.
You carry on. We'll when you're ready, we'll wait for you. All right?
Right, no. I'm all right now. Sorry.
Are you ready there, Jimbo?
Aye, go. Sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. Right, first and foremost, how's the holiday gone?
Fantastic. Tell the pin I'm missing him. I missed the pre-season there on Wednesday with the Rangers boys. Big George. Tell Big George I'm missing him when you see him.
Okay. Listen, mate, and by the way, when I heard you were in San Francisco, I thought that was some fair you got.
Aye, I know. Yeah, they've actually got driverless taxis out here. I'm going to buy one and just use it at the house.
Aye, I know, mate. Don't worry, that's coming. Driverless motors.
No, it's coming, all right. Yeah,
listen, Jim, the Cantwell one, I don't know. This is only my take. They'll bring Southside in after me. I just don't think the manager fancies him. That's the way I see it. We know he's got ability, and it might be time to shake hands and move on. Southside.
Todd Cantwell, Jim, I think he's a goner, mate. I think he's going to go. Aye, listen, he's got talent. We've seen it. He's a wee bit mad at times. I've seen some mad tackles he's put into. Sometimes he's not been in the game. He wants to be the maverick. I think he's a guy, give me the ball and I'll go and do a bit of magic. But under Clement, he wants this team to work in a structure. I think he'll be there as long as until he gets sold, obviously. I think he'll move on, but I think he'll go back to England. Jim, that's my honest opinion. I believe his agent's probably working today to get that deal done, I think.
What are you thinking, Jim?
Aye, I think that's what it's looking like. But I thought the manager's comments the other day there saying that the only one he should keep is... to me, that's absolutely ludicrous for any player that's in there. The manager came out saying that the only one they should keep is the goalkeeper. What's it telling me?
Aye, well, I get it, mate. I get it. I think maybe the only one that's maybe secure is the goalkeeper. I don't know if he's too secure after last Saturday's effort, AK.
Oh, Christ, don't speak about that. Here, by the way, Jim, you're in America. You weren't at that Donald Trump rally last week, were you? You missed. But no.
It was one of my shots, the only one I missed.
Rumour had it was Dessers that was behind it.
Well.
But, Todd Cantwell for me, I'm the south side there. There's just some players that know a manager's cup of tea, and the Mavericks they don't sit well with sub managers, So it's I think Cantwell comes into that category, so I think he'll be moved on.
They never seemed to have it off for day one, Bob Jared, did they? You remember him?
Cantwell.
Aye, the manager, the European game, he brought him off quite quickly. Remember that? And
Cantwell's always going to try to deceive, isn't he? You think when he starts the game or he comes on, you think, oh, he's Todd coming on. Well, he'll liven the game up there, and he never seems to. He was like Billy Bremner used to be. He used to run about daft and nothing come out of his play. So I think you're right. I don't think the manager fancies him, and I think it's time for the boy to move. He's been here for a wee while now, and it's still worked out for him. So yeah, I think it's time for Todd Cantwell to move on. I mean, get some money for him, fair play, and get somebody else in there.
Jim, what do you think? How do you think it's going to end ultimately?
Well, they'll put them into the B team tomorrow, and it's telling you one thing: he's get at that door as soon as they can get a purchase. But that again lies the problem. Who's going to buy these players on these weekly payments? They're not going to touch them. So there lies the problem.
Aye, I don't disagree with you, mate. I think that's the wages and people's not going to match it. So ultimately, we've got a problem. Someone will not move. or if they do move, we'll not make as much money as we should do Southside because we might have to contribute.
I think if he goes back to a championship club or say one of the teams that's just come into the Premiership, maybe want him, then I think he'll get more money. He did say he turned down more money to come to Rangers to come and play with Michael Beale for the dream that he sold him. He stated that on a podcast a while back. So he wanted to come because he's seen the size of the club and that, Jimmy said. But I think if he goes back to England, I think he picks up money and he bother. I think Doyle would be the same and Tom Lawrence would be the same. So I think if any English clubs come in for him, I think we should be able to do business.
Jim?
Aye, it's looking like it. Oh.
And is everything as pleasant as San Francisco as it's made out to be, mate?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I never picked you up there.
Is everything as pleasant as San Francisco as it's made out to be, mate?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I actually spent a week in Hawaii. My boy stays out here, so that's up there out here visiting. So
brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
I'm going to say thanks for letting me on to you here. I'm saying that's back to Glasgow in the morning.
Listen,
well,
your sounds better for San Francisco as it is when you're in the East End.
No, that's possibly aye. Listen, fantastic. I'm going to get up in more a moment 8 o'clock before I fly back to Glasgow, man, and watch that game. I don't know if I should.
Right, mate, you safe journey home, mate. You take it easy, all right?
Well, listen, thanks very much, guys. You all take care, okay? And I'll speak to you maybe during the week.
Cheers, Jim.
All the best, mate.
Thank you. Tell Big George I was asking for him, by the way.
I'll get the message passed on to Big Stevie. Talking about Big Stevie. Listen, a week, 2 weeks tomorrow. There's 2 weeks tomorrow. Am I right, Southside? Am I right? My date's right.
Aye, 27th.
Aye, 27. No, that's
27th.
No, that's no 2 weeks tomorrow. That's a week tomorrow, isn't
it? Yes.
A week tomorrow. It's a Robert Mulholland Memorial Parade in Drumchapel. Now, for those who don't know the story, Robert was a young boy who was killed in the Ibrox disaster, and they've got a memorial for him in Drumchapel. Robert originally, I think, came from White Inch, and he's related to. It turned out that I didn't know this, but I discovered that he's related to some people that I'm very friendly with growing up, and they have the memorial for Robert. They've raised money. They've got the memorial. They have the parade to remember him. Part of the Rangers family, part of your story, because he's one of the 66, and should never be forgotten. There's a couple of bands, and anybody wants to take part, turn up the attire as if you like, for the want of a better word. If you know attire, black suit, black ties. That's if you want to take part in the parade, then there's a couple of bands, and it's only for Robert. It's not an order parade. It's a parade in behalf of remembering young Robert, who sadly passed away. And Rangers Radio will be represented. I think we've got a couple of fine, upstanding gentlemen gone. I believe so, Southside.
Yes, I believe that to be the case. It's a good day. Starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then back to the halls after the parade finishes and the tribute, and then it'll be a wee celebration, I believe.
Yeah. So, and if we can't get any fine, upstanding people to go and do it for us, we'll send along Southside and all better. AK.
Aye, I'm sure they guys will do their self justice. Well done, boys, and well said, Ox.
Yeah, it's a big part of your story. It should never be forgotten, Southside.
No, it should not. And obviously we talk about it every year, New Year and that. But aye, it's a good thing that the big man's done, and it's done every year. Looking forward to it. I believe we've got a designated driver, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, okay. Is that somebody else that's coming back for an injury?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, we'll leave that one alone,
You might as well.
I'll leave that one alone. And for a change, I can't get blamed for any of it.
Should have seen it last week.
I can't get blamed for any of it. For a change. Right, okay. Right, so good luck, and anybody can make it 10 o'clock next week. Drumchapel, Robert Mulholland Memorial Parade. And well done to our Big Stevie, who's one of the driving forces. Right, okay. Bob J, you're a football man. The politics of the game, that's not something that excites you. We've been dragged down that road on many occasions you've been on the show. When you look at the squad, and if you were going to, what's the positions you would like to sign players for?
Well, I'd like to see a new striker, a quality striker. Danilo, well, I'd like to see him step up to the plate. The boy's got a point to prove. He was out almost a whole season with injury, but I'd like to see somebody else in there. I'd like to see Dessers moved on. This big boy at left back, he's still to prove himself. I looked at him last week. He looked not a bad player, but it's been a problem position for us for a while. A quality midfielder, a high quality midfielder. That's what we need. I think the boys in the midfield that we've got, they're capable enough. You know, they're good enough players, but I'd like to see a high quality midfield player in there and a high quality right winger. It's been a problem position for Rangers for a while. It's been the right hand side since Nacho Novo left, I think. And I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's mainly the position for me anyway. The right wing, midfield, and another quality striker. Does that cover it enough for any?
Yeah,
you'd like to see more?
Have you got any names? Are you thinking of any particular players in your own mind?
I can't. There's that many getting banned. The boy Traore, I remember him when he played in England. He's got a hell of a lot of pace. Like, he would go by defenders like 9 pins out here. He would. He seems to be not a bad player. But I really couldn't say. I mean, you go on this YouTube every day, there's any amount of players that are linked with Rangers. But, aye. But, well, I don't know. The boy that came back on loan to young Lowry, he looked all right to me last week. He's a good player, that lad. If we can get him playing, you never know. He could be a quality player. I didn't get him his doing the attitude with the laddie or no, I couldn't say. I had no idea. But he looks a high quality player. He's got potential anyway. They could put him in. It's all sort of getting too much for me at the moment. It's all 6s and 7s and whatnot. I think it's like that with most people. I don't think I'm wrong, by the way.
Anyway, we'll be joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, mate. Evening, everybody.
How you doing, Smurf?
No bad, mate. Just think, like, you know, we're obviously trying to get players in. There's no lot of money. I don't know if it's because there's no lot of money or if it's financial fair play or a combination of both. It's hard to get players into the club. And it's obviously hard to move people on. Do you think last year, when we changed managers, the previous manager had bought players to play in a particular style? Given financial fair play and given the fact that there's not a lot of resource, do you think they should have got a manager that fitted the players that was there, rather than somebody that wanted to play in a different fashion?
I think if you bring in a new manager, it's a part of reality, and I'll go to Southside first, that they always want their old players at any level. They'll keep some of the old players, but ultimately they want to build their own team, and that's what happens. So you end up with, if you'd have kept the same shape, I still think the same thing happens for me. Southside?
I don't think you could have worked long term with most of the players, Smurf. Even if he'd come in and tried to play the system that Beale played, he was successful under his own system that he uses. He had to, like you say, it was a jigsaw every week to him because he couldn't put the same team on the park even 3 games running. Always had to take players out and change players because of injury. I think he wanted them to do that system. We just didn't have the players that could actually have the pace and that the way he wants to do it. You seen the way we came when we first started pressing. We were bang on it. And then I think over a period of time the players just tired because they were fatigued through injury and not been fit enough for the start of the season. I think all managers want to play their own style. A lot of managers, it's either a 3-4-3 or this 4-2-3-1. I hope we're adaptable. I think in Scotland, I think we're good enough to play a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2. Don't think it should be an issue. In Europe, we might want to change, no, they all want to do their own style with their own players, and just that we went through too many managers and too many of that squad have stayed under a lot of the managers, got older, depreciated, picked up more injuries, and now when we try to move them, some of them, we're finding it a wee bit harder at the moment, but hopefully over time they will move.
Aye, I don't know, I was just thinking that, with a lack of resource, or it might just be that, the money that's been spent on wages, etc., etc.
So we're snookered at the moment. We talked about it, and I'm bringing Kay in to answer your point. We're a wee bit snookered. If we went in our number 10, we've got about 5 there. We've got to at least 2 of them out the door. You can't just keep bringing our one and then we'll get 6 and paying all the wages. Kay?
You're right, and we spoke about it earlier in the show, Smurf. I don't know if you caught it or that.
No, I didn't.
To answer, it's just basically the financial fair play is just, we're behind the black ball now, put it that way. We can't do nothing until players go out before we start bringing players in. So that's basically how we've got to operate. But to answer your own question, Beale for me was a mistake, an obvious mistake. The way he actually came into the club wasn't befitting the board to kind of be that way. He paraded him in the director's box when Gio was in situ as our manager. And for me, when somebody made the decision to cut the losses with Gio, I think Beale was earmarked because if you remember right, we were going through a stage there where Morelos had down tools, Kamara had down tools, Kent had down tools. Beale will come in and, galvanise them to get a kind of tune at them. And he did to a certain extent, but they still wanted to leave at the end of the season. And I think the bigger mistake for them is the board trusting Beale 100% with the recruitment, the players that was bringing in and the players that he released. And that's where we've found ourselves in huge problems now because of the length of contracts, because of the amount of contracts. And it's just been a noose around the club's neck as regards finance and transfer-wise.
Aye. No, I get all that. I appreciate all that. But I just think that, and I get the financial fair play, but I've been reading about it myself, and it's actually quite interesting. You read into it how the financial fair play thing sort of gave connotations of financial doping to prevent it. But it's actually about solvency and sustainability, and the club's got a percentage that it can spend on players and salaries and transfer fees and agents fees, and it's, you say, might be behind the black ball now, snookered, but they must have known that when they appointed a manager, and you've got players that play in a certain fashion or in a certain system. They were brought in to play a certain system, and you know you're going to be in that position. I don't know, and it's no a dig at the manager, because I think the manager will be fantastic, and I get that a lot of the players will need rotated no matter who come in, but I just think if you've got players that play in a certain to do a certain role, surely when you've not got a lot of money and you can't move the transfer market, whether you've got money or no, you've got to get a manager to suit the system rather than the other way about. I don't know. Do you know what? I've got absolutely no faith in the board. None whatsoever. There's been one calamitous decision after the other since Dave King left. And so I don't know. I'm dreading the new season. I'd say that. And
what's the calamitous decision since, Smurf? Give me them.
Well, I think Edmondson House was a bad decision. I think maybe that money could have been spent in the stadium, rather than, it's a nice idea, but it's a bit of a vanity project for me. When money's, and again it was late. There's this bar that they're going to build. That's never really materialised. You've got the problems with Copeland Road. It just smacks of incompetence, The appointment of Beale. Did you say that yourself? The appointment of Beale, calamitous, absolutely calamitous.
But the Edmondson House thing, I think that was put off when Dave King was involved in it. Remember, it didn't just happen. It didn't just happen.
No, I don't think it was. I think it happened after him. Pretty sure that I get signed up for that.
The project was a long time in the making, and it was meant to be for anniversary, and the cost rocketed.
Oh, I get that.
There's one thing I can't blame the board for. COVID.
No, I know you can't blame for COVID, but no, I think that covers a multitude of sins, innit? I think...
Listen, they've made mistakes. They've made mistakes, mate, and I'm not going to sit here and defend the indefensible, and I totally agree with you. Michael Beale, 28 games at Queen's Park Rangers as a manager. AK came in. He wasn't exactly pulling up trees, and we gave him the Glasgow Rangers job. That was a mistake. It turned out to be a mistake, and it should have never happened. Same as Kachina should have never got the Glasgow Rangers job. AK?
Aye, he didn't have the credentials for it, Ox. There was question marks with a lot of us at the time, but you've got to trust the board to an extent. You've got to get behind the manager, but there was alarm bells ringing me a few years. What was it, 22 games in charge of QPR, and the win rate of about just over 50%. Even that, it's no for me. He was brought in the back of Gerrard's success, and everybody thought he was the brains behind Gerrard's success, which was absolutely nonsense for me. Half the players, half the recruitment that we had under Gerrard wouldn't have came if it wasn't for Steven Gerrard. He was a big name. He was a guy that they all wanted to play under. But for Michael Beale to get the plaudits and all that for the style of it, and then, what did we win under Gerrard? We won one trophy, which was brilliant, but we should have won a treble and cement how strong we were in Scottish football at the time. Beale for me was just it was a nonsense to bring him in. But that was Ross Wilson. That was his man. Brought him in. But as far as the board as well, Stuart Robertson, Douglas Park, Ross Wilson, Gilligan, Dave King, Paul Murray, they've all been replaced in the last certain amount of years. So it's not as if the board are standing still and keeping the same guys. John Bennett's been there for 2015. We've also got Alistair Johnson in there, a wee bit of experience, Halstead, Woolhart. The thing that we haven't got through, for me, is a football-minded guy. I would like to see, I don't know if it's possible, a Souness, an Alec McLeish, a Gordon Smith on that board just to guide them on football matters. But we've now got a director of football in situ as well, which is another good thing that the board have done. But it's all subjective, isn't it? Everybody's got an opinion.
Aye, of course. And there'll be people who would have been delighted when Beale got the job. Some people. It's all about opinion. Southside.
No.
No, Ali touched on a lot. Gerrard came in and Gerrard brought Beale in with him. So he brought him in because he seen something in him. He did say himself he couldn't do the job himself. He brought in John Culshaw and the rest of them because Gerrard did one thing, made us fit. He had the experience as a world-class player, but he maybe lacked in other things, and this is why he brought all these type of people in, and eventually over the 3-year period he got the success that we all wanted. And then obviously, the board have made mistakes. They brought him back in. They probably thought he could do the job. It didn't work out. Gio was the same. Didn't probably get a lot of backing at times due to money constraints at times. And then we had to make more changes again. It's just been the board have backed certain things. We've got a director of football and he's a guy that's meant to control the deals, how the contracts get set out, how much money's meant to get paid. And we were supposed to have this footballing board that they're meant to work with. I think Stuart Robertson, when he was there, made a lot of mistakes, sanctioned a lot of deals and stuff. He was the guy that ran the club. He's now gone. So Bennett and I will take the flak, but we'll get a new CEO, whoever that will be, I don't know. But we'll definitely put somebody in place, I think, in time. But aye, there's been mistakes, Murph, with some of the players. We've hardly made a profit in a lot of years, in the last number of years, owner players. So it's something that we have to start again, and unfortunately the right guy, we think, it's got the job now. We've got a director of football who, by all accounts, will hopefully do a good job going forward, and that will hopefully sustain us going forward, and we'll see the players that they're bringing in, and hopefully they'll develop and be successful. There'll always be one or two bad eggs. I mean, as much as we're slating Beale about certain signings, some he brought will probably work out for us in time, maybe like a Sterling. Butland, you know. So, aye, we can say for every Desslers or Lammers, we've probably got a Sterling and a Butland. I mean, no every sign. And Danilo in time. Aye.
Home. Smurf. Back in, mate. Oh, Smurf. I might have dropped it. All right, AK.
Aye, talking sense, guys. Talking sense, mate. We can all understand the Rangers support. We're on eggshells now about the season ahead. There is a lot of negativity surrounding the club. We get that. But, you know, we've just got to try and trust the process now. Trust, come on. The directors that are in situ just now, most of the guys, if not all of them, they're all Rangers supporters. That's what we wanted. That's what we were calling for. Cast your mind back to the Charles Green and Craig White era. I mean, it shudders to think the guys that was in situ that were running a club at that point in time, and they weren't running it for the benefit of Rangers, they were running it for the benefit of themselves. But these guys, I believe, have the intention of running the club kind of as best they can. It's not going to satisfy everybody. But as I say, that this financial fair play, I keep going on about it, but it's a big thing. It's a big noose around the club's neck. We've got to get that wage bill down. We've got to get a right recruitment.
Well, either that or you need to get your turnover up, mate.
Well, aye, if you get the turnover up, if you qualify for Champions League, that's another thing. We've handed Celtic the league how many times? That's down in our fault, though, because we've not got enough quality players. Could be a weakness mentality with you, but we're getting the turnover of players out, and that's what the Rangers support have been asking. We've maybe not got the recruitment right, because it is a gamble, as you've said many times. We could bring in a Tom Lawrence who hardly misses a game the last 2 years, and then he injures himself in training. You know, how can you legislate for that sort of stuff? But the club are trying its best. Just get behind them. All this nonsense about petitions and everything to get the board out. Nah, sorry, can't agree with anybody that's behind that idea.
I don't agree with myself. I think they deserve some criticism. I get that, and I think after the hangover of the football, the way the season finished last year, I fully understand that Southside, and they'll get some sort of criticism for the project concerning the new seasons getting in the Copeland Road standing because the project's running behind time, and I understand that. I get it, and I understand all the anger and people been saying they've been inconvenienced. Some of that I find that, well, only time will sell, because I would imagine if in a few months' time, if we were playing a final at Hampden, everybody would want tickets for the game and want to go to Hampden, you know. But I understand fully the criticism they'll get. If the project had been due to finish the 1st of September, Southside, we wouldn't even be discussing it, would we?
No, listen, that's the elephant that's in the room, you know, and that's the one that's put people into meltdown, and it's the one that everybody was talking about. And the fact that obviously a lot of people think you should just, well, the Euros are on and that, and players that the window's effectively open to September the 1st, and in the financial market that we're in at the moment, that we can just go out and sign all these players. You know, if it takes us a wee bit longer and we get the right players in, the first team regulars, and they make a difference, then so be it. We'll have to just stick with it. And there is a bit of meltdown with the support here and there. and some would probably want rid of the board. I would just say, if you get rid of that board, who's all Rangers supporting people who have all put their hands in their pocket out their own personal money to try and help the club, and of course it's not been perfect. It's quickly, many times have I said, if me, you, say, AK, Big Stevie, we were all successful, we'd all fall out and all, because we wouldn't have the same opinion. You know, and that's probably been what it's been like at times in the boardroom and all.
I wish people could hear some of the conversations I've heard, mate, yeah?
I know. So, you know what it can be like, right? Because everybody's passionate. And they need to stand up and be counted, and they need to be answerable to the support when we think that things aren't right. So I'm looking forward to the end of the month to hear what Mr. John Bennett's got to say. And hopefully it'll be quite long and lengthy and quite depth, so we know where we might be going down the road here. But first and foremost, it's all about Rangers winning. If you're winning and being successful, stuff off the park, doesn't it? The board don't get questioned as much.
So are you telling me that if we'd have stumbled over the line and won the league, and then Seamus goal goes in, it's counted, and we won the cup, yeah? With the same group of players, all the criticism when they came, even though we'd have still had the same group of players. Is that what you're saying to me?
Listen, things would have been a lot better, and wouldn't have been the way a lot of people were feeling. Still upset. Listen, I'm not happy that I'm having to get Hampden Oxen. But listen, we can't change what's happened. And when they explain what's actually happened, then that's it. It's how you react to what's happened. How quickly can they progress it? That's what we're waiting on to see where we are. But most importantly, for everybody that listens to this show and everybody out there around the world that supports Glasgow Rangers, it's about winning. That's what it's always been about. That football team, ours, winning week in, week out to get his trophies. And then, like, you know, that's what it's about, Ox. Let's be honest, that's what it's about. If Rangers are winning, everybody's happy.
I'm going to give you a wee quiz here.
Oh no, I thought I'd managed to get through the show without one.
Just came at me. Right. When was the last time we played a league game at Hampden? I'll accept a year off you.
Oh. A league game at Hampden?
Aye, I would think any Rangers supporter would know that, Southside. Would you not agree?
I've certainly played a few teams at Hampden in a league.
No.
Would you hazard a guess with a decade?
I can't think of any recently.
I'll say it again. Listen, thanks for the call.
Don't
be a stranger. Don't be a stranger.
He's done it again. Threw me under the bus. Thanks very much.
For my memory, Southside, I think you need to go back to 1979.
League game.
Aye.
We're rebuilding Ibrox.
We played the two Old Firm games in the 78-79 game at Hampden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Aye. Yeah.
Good knowledge.
I've not checked that out, but I'm sure if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me. I've been wrong before once, I think.
Yeah. What about when Celtic were at home in the league and we played them at Hampden? Does that not count?
Say that again, mate.
You said when Rangers played a league game, you didn't necessarily say that we were the home team, because Celtic used Hampden for a full season.
Listen, we know that team's close to your heart, but we're talking about Rangers. Southside.
Aye. Well, it was. Aye. But listen, Hampden's Hampden, innit? It's not the greatest stadium. It's not the greatest views when you're watching the game. It's not the best stadium to get to when you're trying to get up there as well. But hopefully it'll only be for a couple of league games. Hopefully.
Two league games, I'm hoping.
Aye, I'm hoping by. I think we're only there's a break in September, isn't there? So
we better touch on this game tomorrow quickly. We get dragged down a rabbit hole tonight. Right, okay, big game tomorrow. Quickly, last few minutes. Murrayfield. Traditional batter Battle of Britain, the England's biggest club versus Scotland's biggest club. Yeah, it's not your home game. There you go, AK. It's not your home game. Yep. Right. So it should be a test. Obviously, they've had a lot of players away in the Euros, and there should be a decent crowd there. And we'll see what it takes us tomorrow, and we can have a look at maybe some of our new players. See how the boy at left back gets on, maybe Sterling at right back. See how the boy Barron does, and see who's playing up front. Because he did, didn't it, mate? That the players would get 80 minutes Southside. And that would suggest to me that that's the players he's thinking about for the qualifiers at the start of the season.
He'll probably change it. Birmingham on the Wednesday, but he did make the statement that they'll play a lot of minutes tomorrow. I'm just looking to see a bit of shape, see if we've got a sort of what we're trying to do and how we're trying to work the ball through the back and how we're pressing. They'll be pressing as a unit, Ox, by the players he starts with. Maybe a wee bit of tempo in the game and just take that out of it. Hopefully in the injuries, and hopefully we get a win. But if we don't, if I see a bit of progress and a sort of style and that coming through the team that you're looking at, for just punt the ball up the park at times like we had to do last year, because that was the way we had to go. So from that point of view, Conor Barron, looking forward to seeing him. Yefty, I think, would probably start. Sterling at right back, and Barron and Diamondi working together in the midfield. Looking forward to that, Ox. And then some of the young boys maybe getting a chance.
Okay.
Aye, similar thoughts. It's all about minutes and legs now. As you said in his interview there, he said that whatever team he starts with, you'll probably be looking to get 75, 80 minutes out of them. So all of them that's on the bench are probably going to start at Birmingham. So it's just about utilising the squad and getting everybody up to speed. And score lines are relevant, but obviously you want to see Rangers put on a good performance, put on a good result, and I'm looking forward to it. So good on everybody that's scored them on.
Aye. Listen, last word for your good self, AK, being a good giggle, right, mate? Well done.
Aye, we've battled through it, but I enjoyed the show with yourself. The callers that's come in there, Southside, and everybody that's listened. Hope you enjoyed that, Fair, if you were listening. If not, he was saying something about he needs to catch some programme at 9 o'clock, so he might have to listen back. But aye, thanks everybody. Enjoy the game tomorrow on the Rangers.
Just remember, Mr. AK Senior, you can pick your friends.
I'm his son for life.
Southside.
Aye, I enjoyed the night, mate. Always good to come on the show and talk about the famous Glasgow Rangers. Good to go and be AK tonight. I'll probably catch the big in the morrow through in Edinburgh. I know he's going through in the car, so I'll catch up with him at Murrayfield tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be busy or not, to be honest. I've not really thought about it. It's been that long since I went. I think Hearts was the last time I went there, so getting the idea where I'm even going to be sitting. But I know it was a hefty price tag, so it'll be what it'll be. But good to see Rangers tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get the win, and then it's us back in action, and it'll be down to Birmingham on the Wednesday. So we're back, mate. It'll be long to be kick off and follow the greatest team in the world. So thanks for having us on tonight.
Yeah. Thanks to your good Southside. Thanks to AK. Thanks to Smurf and Bob Jeff for joining us. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals and ironing out any glitches we had tonight. Thanks for listening. Rangers Radio will be back on Monday night between 8 and 10. We'll look back at the Man United game and look forward to anything that breaks at the club. We'll speak to you Monday. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and enjoy the game tomorrow. Take it away, Old School Blue.